Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I'm always excited to talk with her. She brings out these viewpoints that help us heal. And that's her purpose in life. She's found it. That's her passion as a Reiki master and teacher, intuitive life coach. She's a clairvoyant medium and so much more. And I think we're going to be unpacking some pretty heavy stuff that you might be able to relate to, certainly maybe find some understanding in your life. And Joan Widen is back with us. Hi, Joan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Good to have
Happy
you back
Friday.
here. Yeah, we never know where we're going to go whenever we start talking, but a lot of times things come up. We learn certain things from you.
Right?
I thought I had ideas of all these modalities, and then I see it from a different angle when you present it that way, which is kind of exciting. Like that, and that's how you learn. What do you want to center on today?
So I want to center on about all the points that we've talked about in the last few weeks, in the last podcast, and tie them all together. And in that, I'm going to give that example through me. So that would be in manifesting how things went, etc. So I'm going to talk about a situation. Before COVID hit, I was about to go and do a tour of Canada, get myself out there. Hey, this is me. Then COVID hit. Everything shut down, right? Lost your deposits and all this stuff. So what did I do? I'm like, okay, I got to teach the kids anyways, this and that. But then it was like, no, I need to get into a little bit of a normal, because my normal is, let's face it, talking to dead people. And during COVID, there was dead people, right? Which was very heavy, right? So my point was, in order to get back some of the money I lost, whereas other people were going, hey, let's stay home and let me hide, I went the opposite. I need to get a job. So I went and I thought about getting a job. I saw it, felt it. 2 days later, my phone, bing, hey, would you like to do this mat leave for us? Okay. That's as simple as it is.
So let me make sure, as we go along the path here, you manifested this.
That's correct.
Again, I'm going to get a job. And we've talked about manifestation before.
Correct.
2 days later, phone rings. Job offer.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm like, okay, well, not only does this job have to, I need a job, it has to also suit me, because I still had kids. I still had to figure out all these things, right? So I'm like, okay, well, these are the hours. These are what I can do. You still want me? Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Even better.
So far, so good, right?
So far, so good, right? Working. And then what was it? Something happened in the workplace. And I should say, it was because they were hiring, it was an essential service.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say, right?
Gotcha.
Because people are like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. No one.
Yeah,
shut down.
You're allowed to work because it's an essential job you have.
That's right. Right. Okay. So during this job, everything's great. Everything's good. All of a sudden, I get propositioned by the CFO. Okay. I kind of look at that and go, well, thank you. I'm flattered. Thank you, but no, thank you. I'm happy. This is great. And then I looked at him and I said, are we good? Yeah, we're good. Right? I'm not one of those to go, hey, this is what happened, whatever. I did call my girlfriends to say, hey, you wouldn't believe just what happened. Right?
Yeah.
And being the life coach in me, healer, I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about this. Let's figure this out. Why do you feel you need to look elsewhere?
So you said this to the CEO.
Yeah.
Oh,
CFO.
CFO, my bad. Okay. All right.
This is a small company, right? And so if he felt comfortable enough to ask me, I went, he should be comfortable enough to talk about this as adults, right? And everything was good. Everything was going great. And then all of a sudden, I had a few friends pop by. And then it was like, wait a second. Who are they? Why are you talking to them? You can't talk to him or, you know what I mean? How long are you in the washroom? Why are you in the washroom? Why are you brushing your teeth? Why this? Just
Like a scorned lover that it never
that's
took place,
correct.
but he took it personally, and now you're the target.
Now I was the target. So I was like, okay, well, we're gonna just breathe. We're just gonna send him love, right? We're just gonna just continue to work because I had to work closely with him. And in this day and age, and being in the feminism era, this actually still is very much a hush hush, don't talk about it. You know, if you say something, Joan, this could kill your career if you wanted to work downtown, if you wanted to do whatever, So is this a mountain you're willing to die on? Is what I was prominently told by other CEOs and presidents of companies. And I went, okay, well, we'll think about it, but whatever. Going. All of a sudden, it just got too much, right? Boundaries are being broken all the time. And so I went to partner B. There's two partners in this company. So I went to partner B and discussed this, told them.
Now,
And
before
they're
we get
like, oh,
there, I
go
love
ahead.
learning the dynamics. Now, partner B, what was your work relationship with that partner? Was it, did you regularly see this person, talk with this person that you felt comfortable that say, hey, I want you to know about partner A, what's going on here?
Um, yes, because how I got this was actually I considered them friends. And so that's how it just
Prior to being hired?
prior to, yes,
Oh, okay.
right? So the
The
plot
plot
thickens.
thickens. Let's say at the same time. There we go. All right. Hmm.
Right? So then they're like, "Oh, well, I have your back and we'll discuss this, we'll figure this out. We'll right now prior to actually going to him and actually saying what happened, I did say, "Hey, you need to discuss with the CFO because he's nitpicking, he's pushing me, he's saying things that are inappropriate."
Hmm.
Right? So then he's like, "Okay." Then what happened was they went and talked and it became a what was it? Can I say this online? A bros before hoes kind of situation.
Gotcha. Okay, the boys club. The boys club is in session. All right.
That's correct because in this industry it's predominantly men,
Okay.
right? And so
So
it
so
was go
so
ahead.
um owner B is protecting owner A in some regards.
The CFO is not an owner. He's
See, I'm
related,
sorry,
but
Steve.
not.
Well, okay, let's talk to upper management. One is protecting
Yes.
the other one.
Yeah,
Okay, got
right.
it. Hmm.
So it became we're going to fix this. Don't worry about it. I went back to my desk and then it's like, "Hey Joan, we need to talk to you. Come in to our office for a meeting."
I wouldn't go in that office, but anyway, keep going.
Right? I wasn't thinking about it. You just kind of went, "Okay, well whatever. Now
Yeah.
what?" Right? Cuz meanwhile, with my psychicness, I knew I'm like this is not gonna go whatever. But I knew if I didn't go in, I would be in more trouble than it
Yeah.
would be, right? So I went in, I sat down and then I looked to my left. Guess who was sitting right there?
The
CFO.
CFO. Fabulous. Okay.
So and then there's partner B and someone like the office manager was there. And he looks at me and he goes, "So we have a predicament here, Joan." And I went, "Okay, let's hear it." CFO here says he has no idea what you're talking about and he can't remember ever saying that. And I went, "Okay." And he goes, "So how do you explain that?" And I said, "I can't." I said, "I cannot speak for him. I But I can tell you from my experience that I could tell you what I was wearing, where I was sitting, where he was standing, what he was wearing, and pretty much the time that it happened." And
Hmm.
he's just like, "Well, okay." He goes, "But I'm going to tell you, I don't like this. And he goes, well, when did this happen? I said, well, it was about a year ago. And he goes, well, okay, so now I think you're lying. It was this flip of the switch. You are lying. And I went, what? And he's like, no, you're lying. Office manager pipes up and says, now, so and so, you can't say that because of the nature of this incident. There is no real timeline as to when you can or cannot say, because it's a very, very, very difficult thing to come out and say. Right. And then so he's like, well, either way, I don't like this. I don't care. If he goes, one of you two, he's like, well, so and so could lose his job. You know that, right? And I said, yeah. I said, but I'm not here to prevent him, like for him to lose his job. I said, I know he's going to retire soon. I don't care. I said, I just need him to stop hounding me, harassing me about my worth and how much I can't, like I should make or not work or work for free kind of thing. I just need him to stop. Can you do that? Well, no, this is really, really disappointing. And what was it? It's a huge allegation. What do you say to that? And I said, again, I can't tell you why he doesn't remember because I know what I know. Then he's like, well, one of you are going to lose your job today. So you got to figure this out. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it now. And I looked at him and I said, well, if this is such a huge issue for you, then I quit. I'm done. I tap out because I'm not going to have this feeling like crap all the time, right? CFO goes, whoa, wait, you can't quit. You're not allowed to quit. Partner B, and he goes to partner B, Joan's not allowed to quit. I won't allow it. Right? So I'm like,
In front of everybody, this guy is saying it.
yes,
He's
yes.
pretty much like driving himself under the bus in terms of his mentality and perspective of the whole situation.
In terms of what's it called? Saying actually he did it? Yes. Right? Because if that was me and someone had this allegations against me and said, no, I'm gonna leave, he would say, okay, see ya. Don't let the door hit you.
Yeah. Or maybe he felt guilt too. I don't know. So, okay. So what happened? He got,
So what
that's
happened? I just got up and left because I
wow.
said, I'm done talking about this, right? Like I'm done. I can't. Because in the moment, I'm going to tell you, I was like waterworks. I was standing here, talking just like I am with you, but just wrecked, right? And I had to finish working the rest of the day in
Wow.
this situation and them going, well, so what have we decided? That's where it came down to. It's like, so what have we decided?
We
I'm like, I'm like, partner B, you are you're the boss, you're the owner, right? Didn't show up for the work the next day because honestly, I know personally, I couldn't handle that emotionally, mentally. I wouldn't have been able to be there, right? So here's where that lady said, well, how can you find positivity when you feel completely wrecked? Okay. So positivity is, I got up that morning. I got out of bed and I didn't cry for 10 minutes. Right. So then you just kind of go, okay, great. Next day, same thing. I got out of bed, drove my kid to school and smiled. Right. So it's all those little things here and there that you can do to get yourself through this stuff. Does that make sense?
yeah, small steps equal the big
Small steps, baby steps. And then you go, okay, so this is a huge mountain. Am I going to be able to deal with this myself? And yes, there are certain things because I am a healer, I can help myself do things. But at the same time, I also believe in Western medicine. And we have tools here that are available to us to use, right? So I went to the doctor. I got, you know, and then I have a psychologist. And so they're all working with me to get me sane in that moment, right? So
Mm.
while I was off figuring this out, because, okay, so then partner A comes in and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We've never had to deal with this before." Partner A is a female. Never had to deal with this before. I apologize. We will look into this. We're not going to sweep this under the rug. Okay, great. So then she goes, "When you're feeling up to it, let's go meet." Okay,
Now, this is
very good.
after you left. You left
After
the
I left.
job. You're done.
No, like I was on a medical leave.
Okay. All right. Did I just to put the pieces together, the CFO was a female?
No, CFO is not a female.
Okay.
CFO is a male.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Just yeah, I
Okay.
thought I heard
No,
that, but I
no,
wanted
it's
to
all
check.
good. No, I am a partner A
Partner
is
A. So you get
is a
partner A, partner
female.
B, CFO.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
right. Partner A female, partner B male, CFO
And it wouldn't have
male
made a difference, if the CFO was
was a female. It's the same
what?
thing.
Well, same thing. Harassment is harassment.
Right. Exactly. Right. So I meet with her for coffee. It's like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Please don't do this. Don't like, are you going to file charges? Blah, 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 da, da,
I
da."
knew that was coming.
Right? I looked at her and I'm like, that is the furthest thing from my mind at this moment. Because right now, first and foremost, it's about me. I want to heal me. That is external. And then I said to her, like, honestly, the trauma in all of this wasn't the actual act of being asked. Because you know what, it was just a conversation. It's no big deal, right?
Didn't
It
didn't
was
take place. It wasn't anything physical. However,
that's right.
it was still a conversation and it still was inappropriate, but
Right. But it was still a conversation, right? The actual trauma in the whole thing was being um, corralled or cornered, backed into a corner with your accused,
yep.
right? And then getting turned on and saying, "Well, no, you're just making this up." I kind of looked at them and I said, "What do I have to gain for this?" Nothing. I said, "I'm not family and I'm not related to anyone here,"
And you're
which
not looking for any
everyone was.
special privileges or
No,
salary increase.
no.
You want him to get off your back because
So I could do my job,
yeah, do your job, right. Right.
right? Okay, so blah, 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 right? And so this is why I told you with the karma, right? It's like, that's fine. Like, you guys do you, that's fine. Right now, Joan needs to focus on Joan. Joan needs to worry about Joan. Joan needs to heal. Joan needs to just focus and just heal. And I'll be back when I get back, but I need to heal. And I don't need to be told about cry about, "Oh, well, he's almost retiring and blah, 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 and it will ruin his marriage and blah, blah, blah." Okay, great, great. It's not my job, or like if you're in this situation, it's not your job to make someone feel better about how they treated you ever. Right? I'm like, I've already forgiven you for all this stuff, but don't ask me to make you feel better about being a jerk.
Yeah. Doing the wrong thing. So
That's right.
you for an entire year, do I have these numbers right? That he propositioned you
Endured that. Yeah.
and you endured his poor treatment, him, micromanaging you and all of that, all of his time
Yeah. Yeah.
because he was, scorned.
Right.
Mm.
Right. Right. So while I was off, I went, "Okay, universe, you told me I need to leave this job," which is clear. I get that now. Um, you want me to do this work. You want me to help heal it. A lot of people. You want me to go out there and be all this. I don't know how to do that, universe. I was a wreck when I said that. And I actually yelled at the universe and said, what the? Figure this out, because if you want me to do that, you better do it now, because otherwise I am done. Right?
Totally got it.
2 days later, my phone rings. It's New York. And I'm like, scam call, whatever. Just about to swipe it, go to voicemail, right? Right when I was about to do that, I got no. Answer that phone call. So I did. And it was you guys.
Oh, wow. How weird is that? Wow.
And they're like, hey, your name came across my desk. And I'm like, what?
Interesting.
Yeah. Right. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. So again, so here's that manifesting, right? You have to go, okay, I know I'm supposed to do this. I see it, I feel it. And I was so passionate about it that when I said, if you can't help me figure this out, because I don't know how to market myself. I don't know how to champion myself to get to get exposure,
Mhm.
right? And then boom. And then he's like, well, we'd like to interview you. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, well, what do you want from me? well, it's only a 5-minute interview. No big deal. I'm like, okay. And they're like, can we do it in like half an hour? I'm like, no. I need to think about this. I need to like calm down before. And I'm like, okay, the next day we can do it. Right. I gave him a time and did that. Because since I was off and I was going to get IV therapy to increase all the vitamins back into my body because of the stress that it had caused me, right? So I was getting an IV of all these vitamins.
Yep.
So I thought, okay, well, perfect. I'll do the interview while I'm getting
Seriously, you were getting an IV drip when you did it?
yeah.
That's fantastic. This,
Not that when I talked to you, but it
yeah,
was
no, I
before
got you. I
you,
got you. Lift your arms up. I want to see right now. What do you got going on?
the last one.
Okay. Um, it it brings me back to what I think we've said before, and I believe in it, and I know you do. The universe. You ask the universe for a sign or an answer. If you're open to it, you'll get it. And the things that you're saying now, this is stuff that I swept under my career rug. But I have memories of no harassment, but uncomfortable situations that led me to leave a job
Right.
too.
And you just slunk away. Yep.
Yeah. And one point, it was very uncomfortable after many decades of working somewhere and thinking about it. And I woke up on a Monday, toughest decision ever made, and said, you're leaving Wednesday. That's it. That's your last day. And I remember after leaving, I'm like, what do I do now? Like, I got some severance, but what do I do? This is years
Right.
ago. And somebody who's intuitive said to me, when you are at your lowest point, that's where you're most humble. And that's where you're going to receive signals, messages, or whatever. Fast forward to only, well, not far away from where you left that job. I was at a job for 10 years and it got a little uncomfortable because of a situation. And I was told I wasn't doing the right thing. And that goes against me. And I thought
Yeah.
about it and I walked in and told them I was leaving and they were blown away. They couldn't believe I was leaving. I'm like, yeah, just not right anymore. I'm leaving. And when it's time to go. But sometimes
Right.
it can impact you, especially in your situation where, you know, a year went by of you dealing with the CFO, knowing he's wrong, and you're still
Right.
you want your job, but it gets to a point where just, it was time for you to go.
It was right. And it was evident, right? And it just
Yeah.
hammered it home, right? So, and then there's where I said, when you said the other day, I manifest you, and I'm like, oh, I manifested you. And you, that's what I meant by that,
Wow. Okay.
right?
Interesting.
Because it came up and I was like, okay, it's only a 5-minute interview. who cares, whatever. I actually thought I did a horrible job.
I
But
don't see how that would be possible, but we all think what we think. Um,
but
wow,
here I am.
it's amazing. And I'm sorry you had to go through that and that whole situation. Even worse that you knew them prior.
Yes. Yes.
So you would think there would be some kind of allegiance to you, some caring in that aspect. But as I've learned in the life journey, there's no loyalty.
There
Typ-
isn't, but also I was not family, right? And the CFO he wasn't technically family, but he kind of was without actually saying and giving information away. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? He was related in some sense.
yeah, but it's also they're protecting him. They're
That's
protecting.
correct.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
correct. So again, right? And then so karma, you want to talk about karma? Karma, their biggest charity, do you know what their biggest charity that they champion?
I
For
am
abused women.
truly afraid to ask. Uh, I appreciate them if they're making donations, but aside from that, wow, wow.
Right? So again, that's theirs and it doesn't matter to me because honestly, when it comes to karma, all you have to do is think about yourself and yourself alone. Are you doing the right thing? Are you doing things to make the world a better place? Are you being a kind, gentle human being that actually helps people grow
Yep,
and want to be the best that they can?
yep.
Right?
And that's how you should live.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Uh, Crazy but fascinating story in your journey.
Yeah.
Do you think, and we have like literally a minute left, do you look back? And I never want to do this, I should have done this. But do you look back and do you say, I should have left earlier? I should have left sooner? Or it needed to play itself out that way?
Okay, so from what I understand, because I did a lot of meditation on this and
Mm,
everything, I asked spirit because I knew I was supposed to leave, but again, part of it was I needed to stay because I knew we were going to buy a house soon, and on
okay.
the bank's perspective, it would looked better for two people having jobs, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
Um, so that was also a benefit, and that we manifested, voila, this
Yep.
house
And I remember
in the
we
woods,
talked about that. Yeah.
right? And then it just, well, I can't remember where I was going with
Yeah.
this, but honestly, it is
You needed to stay there as long as you stayed for other
right.
reasons.
Oh, yes. And the reason why I needed to go through this was because I needed to let go of this hurt instead of just slinking away and letting it like sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah.
I needed to address it in order so they could give me more and so I could help more people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm learning that there's a lesson in everything and you
Right.
need to see the lesson instead of being
Right.
angry, instead of, you know, not forgiving or any of that. You need to look at it and
Right.
say, there's a reason there and try and find the reason and be
Right.
appreciative of the reason
Exactly, right?
there for you.
Instead of being vindictive or hurtful or anything like that, right?
It's not
So
easy.
it's not easy,
It's
right?
not
But at
easy.
the same time, you just kind of go, okay, well, even if you did all these things, would it actually make you feel better? Most times it does not because it has nothing to do with that situation. It really comes back to you, right? The pointing.
Yeah. Well, yes.
It's
And
back
thank
to
you for the
you.
reminder. The three fingers always point back at you. And I forgot that. And that's really good because it's so true. It's
Yeah,
so true. You want to point the finger at somebody else, but you're really doing it to yourself.
right.
Um,
Because
I,
I can tell you, they're not losing sleep over this.
no, they're not.
No,
No, they've already
right?
moved on.
So,
No, he's
right,
he's going to retire. Everything's great.
right,
But is it? But is it?
right.
We don't wish anything negative on
No,
him. However, I'm sure he's dealing with things in his life. Otherwise, he probably, if he was all happy and everything was fantastic in his life and oh, wonderful, he's in a great relationship and everything is just the way it should be, he
it
wouldn't
wouldn't
have done what he
happen.
did. And then
That's
he would have
correct.
continued to do what he did. So yeah, then there's that. So, and not to say that, that you take comfort in that, but that's the reality, I believe, and that, that it is. Put that over to the side. I would love to
Right.
keep talking, but we're way out of time.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you for sharing that and your honesty and transparency in a challenging situation. But again, lesson there for all of us in many different lessons, the
Right.
takeaways from all of that. Your website is Joan Widen, your name, WIDEN.com. If somebody's working through something, tough situation, wants to even some help in manifesting, I know you're always available to help people out.
Absolutely. And just
Yeah.
remember, you are never ever alone.
Yeah,
There are communities to always help you.
absolutely. No matter what. Thank you so much. And talk to you soon, Joan.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.